Good morning and welcome to the System Unfiltered. This is my first podcast, my first time recording my own podcast and editing. So bear with me. It's going to be a little rough, but I'm glad that you're here from the beginning, and hopefully you can help me spread the word and we could get people, together and, you know, just build this channel up and watch us grow. So, what is the System Unfiltered? First, the name, the System Unfiltered. By the system, I mean, law enforcement, corrections, justice system, political system, basically the system in general, the man, right? And unfiltered means like I'm gonna give it to you pure, unbiased, no political, right side, left side views and stuff like that. And who am I to give it to you like that? Well, I'm an ex-police officer for 18 years, and I've been in the system actually, been arrested, so I know a little bit on the other side too. And I grew up in Brooklyn, Flatbush, and Midwood area, um, and I didn't always like police officers, so you know things changed my view. But I understood that the concept of policing is put there to stabilize law and order. Okay, so we have the all-seeing eye here. The all-seeing eye. This is the eye of God, or eye of Allah, or Yahweh, the source. Um, Please don't take offense to the wording I use. Sometimes I'm a little ignorant, or what's the word? Damn. I don't want to say insensitive because I'm sensitive to other people's feelings and describing it. So I guess I'm learning. Okay, so anyway, it's the all-seeing eye, and it's there to basically have accountability, transparency, watching over humanity, whatever. And then we have the sun's rays. So the sun's rays is unfiltered, is giving you knowledge or information unfiltered, which is supposed to be pure. And since information is knowledge and knowledge is light, then the sort you have to get from the source for it to be unfiltered and untainted. So therefore, the sun is the source symbolically, and then the sun's rays. So it's like knowledge unfiltered. So that's why I chose that icon. Um, yeah. So back to a brief resume or profile of me. I grew up in Brooklyn, like I said, in Midwood, Flatbush area. Um, Mixed neighborhood. It was predominantly Irish, Italian, Pakistani, Chinese, Haitian, Spanish, and I had all. We had like a melting pot of friends. It was like we had a joke about it. It's like we had every color there, and it was like the UN of friends. Um, it was great. Race wasn't really an issue. I mean, yes, kids, we were stupid. We joking around back and forth. We cracked jokes back and forth, but we didn't really mean it at heart. We all loved each other, and I still talk to them to this day. I have some friends that I grew up with that unfortunately got caught up into the system, and then recently came out and they're fully reformed with beautiful families and beautiful careers, and they were fortunate enough to break out of the system, which is very hard to do. um, I became a police officer in 2005. um, I got promoted to the rank of sergeant in 2013. I was transferred to the 109 precinct. As a police officer, I worked in East Flatbush, um, in Brownsville, which is 6-7 precinct, predominantly a West Indian neighborhood community. And then I was transferred to 109, which is Flushing, Queens, which is predominantly a Asian community. And while I was there, I went on the cover to prevent my commanding officer from getting fake rape charges put on him from my lieutenant. And then, in the midst of going on the cover and getting that um, false accusation on as evidence, I discovered that there was a widespread of corruption. It was human trafficking, drug dealers, prostitution. Cops were robbing gambling houses. Cops were robbing, massage parlors and stuff like that, and getting paid off by the karaoke's. You guys might have seen in the newspaper in 2016. It was known as the karaoke scandal. So, yeah. After that, the NYPD covered it up, isolated the situation, and only arrested 2 people. And they didn't want to go after the higher executives that were running it. I made a stink about it, and they started retaliating against me again. And I faced the retaliation for, from like 2014. Well, during my undercover work, they put me in dangerous situations. There was no backup out there. They wanted me to fail, so I guess you could put that as part of the retaliation. So I would say like around 2014 to 2022, although they are still harassing me, but yeah, so since 2014, which is a very long time. So 2020, in 2020, I ran for state assembly. I decided, maybe this is why I was still a police officer. I ran for state assembly, and I was trying to get into a position of power where I could create reform where cops are not watching cops, because I don't think that's a good idea. It's conflict of interest to have the cops watching cops, which is crazy. So let me break it down. You have internal affairs that monitors police. Then who monitors internal affairs? Internal affairs are broken up into different groups. You have group 1 that monitors internal affairs and captains and above. White shirts, we call them. So who monitors group 1? You have a group called, I think, 25 or something like that. And they monitor group 1 because that's all. And they also monitor cops that have federal investigations. And then who monitors group 25? Group 1 monitors 25 because since they're internal affairs, they monitor them. So it's a big circle jerk. So that's why you can't have cops monitoring cops. So I wanted to implement something like CCRB on a state level where they can actually have the power to implement punishment and take action on corrupt police officers or police officers that are doing the wrong thing. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not the whole department that's corrupt. Nobody's saying every cop is corrupt and stuff like that. This is actually good for all the good cops that are trying to do their job and actually trying to make a difference out there and help the community and stuff like that. And this allows them to do their job better. It gets rid of the higher executives pushing their own agenda, pushing political agenda and stuff like that. And it's trying to reform policing, and it brings accountability, it brings transparency and stuff like that. Of course, I had other ideas and everything, but we're not here to talk about that right now. So yeah, I ran for that, and then coronavirus happened, and unfortunately, we were on lockdown and everything, and so I basically stopped my campaign, and I just started giving out PPE, food for nurses, first responders, and just essential workers. And I met a lot of great people. Then unfortunately, the incident happened about a black man getting killed by a police officer, and I, Black Lives Matter movement, which was great. Um, I participated in that. I participated in Asians Asians for Black Lives Matter. We helped do They Can't Burn Us All, Stop Asian Hate with China Mac and Will X Ham, and you know, I helped out with a lot of things. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because my dog is like running around underneath the bed and dresser and stuff, and it's just funny because she never really does that. Hey, Diamond, come here. Let me introduce my dog. Diamond, come here, baby. Come here, come here, come here. Come here. Oh, shit. Hold on. Come here. Come here, baby. Sorry. She loves me chasing her and grabbing her. So this is Diamond. Diamond, say hi. Hello. My baby right here. Okay, so if you hear her in the background, whatever, that's her dog barking and these tippy tap feet on the ground. Okay, so yeah, back to the subject. I seen both sides. I've been retaliated against. I seen the dark side of the system, and I'm just here, to give my point of view, where it's like it's not influenced or biased. It's just straight facts, based on like training and everyday situations. Because policing is outdated. It's it was created so long ago, and in these days and times, we need to update it, and we need to change things, and we need to reform. They train you on being us against them, and it's no longer about us against them. It's back then I can understand how the feeling is, where the concept of us against them comes from, because as a police officer, your first priority is to get home safe, get home to your family. And, in order to do that, it's a dangerous world out there. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know people that you respond to and you meet and stuff like that. So it's like their thing is, in order to prevent a mistake, trust no one. Trust no one but your fellow police officers. Because everybody's trying to all the cops are trying to get home safe, which is understandable. But that fear is what separates us. Us as in the community and policing. So we need to bridge that gap. And the community is in fear of police officers because they're seen as the enemy and they get treated as the enemy. And then, it causes divide, right? So we need to bridge that gap. Hopefully I could bring some more understanding as to why police officers act the way they do when they go to certain situations. And, if some police officers are watching, hopefully, it would bridge the understanding of why people act the way they do when police officers are approaching them. Just keep in mind, we're all people in the end. All right, one blood. So, this is a System Unfiltered. My first episode, I was thinking about speaking about Jordan Neely, on what I feel could have been done better. Of course, speaking about these things in hindsight, it's easy. But, and I wasn't there, and I don't know what truly happened. But from the video, what I did see is, and from the information that I've been fed through media, which is probably tainted, right? But from what I gather is, Jordan Neely was a street performer, went through some hard times, had a breakdown, homeless, and at that time he was panhandling, threatening people on the train, hungry, asking for food, saying that he doesn't mind dying and stuff like that. Don't quote me on it, but that's the information I was given. And then since people seeing it as an attack or being aggressive. Um, which is, I guess, kind of understandable. Different people react different ways. So three people, from what I seen was three people, took it upon themselves to do the right thing and try to protect people on the train, and they try to stop them and stuff like that. And they restrained them. One ex-marine, I kind of I don't like the word ex-marine because I'm not military, but I have a lot of military friends, and I heard once a marine, always a marine, right? So ex-marine would be somebody who had like this dishonorable discharge or something like that. So, um, but he put him in a chokehold, and he took him down, and there was two other people restraining him, and up to that point, that's okay, right? To restraining him. Well, I'm not saying it's okay to do, but you know what I mean. Like, there's still no permanent damage, right? They're trying to restrain him. They're trying to hold him down while hurting him and stuff like that. But you have three people, and once he's already on the floor, I already saw that he was like falling in and out. You could have just let go of the chokehold. You could have just simply just beard hugged him from behind or something like that, or just restrain him from behind, and then just hold him down until the cops show up, or pick him up, sit him on a chair, and keep him on the chair because the train has already evacuated, and there's nobody on the train except for them, and they were holding the train anyway, waiting for cops to show up. You could hear the conductor in the background and stuff like that, and they could have just sat him down and just wait for the cops to show up, even though the cops probably would just arrested him, and nothing would happen. Like, that's another problem. We need services to help correct this. You can't just throw them in a psych ward and just forget about them, because the psych ward is just going to release them. It's just too many people with the mental health issues and not enough resources. So we need more resources to deal with that. And we also need people who are fully trained to deal with the mental health crisis. There was like $1 billion budget under De Blasio for a mental health crisis, and that budget disappeared. So they're still not going to look for that money. Where'd that $1 billion go? So, anyways, yeah. As a police officer, from what I seen was, at that time, I guess there's no arrests, but once they brought him to the hospital and he died, they should have went back and they should have arrested all three of them, because they're acting in concert, and there's three or more people. So the minimum charge would have been at least manslaughter, and then you have three or more people acting in concert. So that's kind of gang assault, which is a felony charge also. Then they would have probably charged also regular assault, and so forth and so on. And then the DA's office usually overcharges, so they probably would have charged murder, and then manslaughter and stuff like that, if this is a regular situation, like according to law, right? If there was no influence or bias and like prejudice and stuff like that. So this is the information that I'm trying to give you. This is what the show is about. We're here to have a conversation and stuff like that. And people who are listening, drop some comments, drop some questions, please. I'm here to answer all types of comments, all types of questions. But if you're going to be negative, I might just delete the comments, or it might get automatically filtered. I don't know how that thing is set up. It's my first time doing it. But let's engage. I'm here to engage with everybody. I'm here to hear both sides out. Let's have a civilized conversation without people screaming in the background and just, blocking things out. Let's keep an open mind and let's talk about things. I'm really tired of all the politics of left and right. I want to just fix things. We need to fix policing. We need to, reallocate funding, because the funding I seen also as a police officer, cops just spend money on stupid shit when it comes to the end of the fiscal year. They just burn the budget just so that they get more money next year. It's crazy. It's crazy. And the amount of money that they spend on lawsuits and everything like that, against the department for wrongdoings and stuff is just ridiculous too. So, you gotta train people better. You gotta, um, educate people, and hopefully we got to fix these mistakes from happening over and over and over again, right? We need accountability. We need transparency. I just saw in the papers the other day that they're trying to lower punishments for certain stuff, which is some of the stuff I saw was like failure to take report and stuff like that's now being a lesser punishment, which is crazy in my head because like now you're encouraging cops to shit can reports. Shit can is a word that cops use when they try to sweep something under the rug or something like that. And, it's just crazy to me. So um, it feels like we're moving backwards, and I'm just tired of it. I want to move forward. I want to, move on to the next level. So yeah, if you guys have any guest ideas or people that want to come on the show, and we could talk about something, and we could just like have a dialogue back and forth, a civilized dialogue back and forth. Hopefully, we could educate people, and we could open people's eyes, and we could bridge the gap between the communities, and we come together and you know make this world a better place. All right. End of the videos, my introduction. It's about like 20 minutes in, whatever. I'm probably not going to edit this. I'm just going to put this up raw. So please excuse the raw content, which is what we are, right? So peace, love, and one blood. Love everybody. Bye. Stay safe.